welcome once again to Cinema Synergy.
He almost did it.
Coming to you live from the lovely Brazil Craft Beer and Wine Lounge down here in Jamestown, New York. Tonight we have our second viewer request.
Third viewer request.
Second.
We have Southland Tales, Tucker and Dale. This is Legend.
We're gonna get you a teleprompter.
I think we need one.
Or like note cards, and we're just gonna dangle them on a string and pull them back one at a time.
All about this. We should do this. Anyhow, Legend, 1985, Ridley Scott, Tom Cruise, and Tim Curry. Also, Mia Sara, for those of you.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of it. I mean, I think we have a pitch coming up too, and that's our line.
Hang on, bring it back over here. Trav will be doing the pitch, and it would be awkward to just keep the camera on him the entire time.
I think we should.
Probably should have as penance for the mistakes that he's already made.
Like I thrive in awkward. So.
You do thrive in awkward, amongst other things. So anyway, Trav is pitching a movie involving Iceland and oil derricks, or rigs, whatever.
And making
Oil derricks, oil derricks, whatever.
And it's not Parasite.
There was a vote from already, not directly through the comments, but through one of our viewers to just keep the camera on Trav and make it super awkward. So there we go.
So on that note, we're gonna move the camera over here. I'll keep talking, but just keep the camera on Trav for a minute. The movie is called what?
No Such Thing.
I was close.
No Such Thing. This is from 2001. It's kind of an obscure movie and a hard pitch because there's not a lot to be said about it. The basic plot is a Beauty and the Beast deconstruction with a whole bunch of existential angst.
I've seen this.
Yeah, of course you
have.
You've seen everything.
If we manage to find a movie you haven't seen, I'm throwing a small
have.
party.
Now you all know my pain.
We have, but not all. The basic premise behind this movie is that you've got this very shy, soft-spoken girl from New York City who wants to be a journalist, but that involves getting in front of the camera and talking, and that's scary. So instead, she gets sent to like fetch some coffee all the time. And her fiance is a cameraman who's off on assignment in Iceland and just disappears, vanishes off the face of the earth. So she finally manages to get the money out of her employer to go looking for him, which is where she encounters this monster. There's no other word for it, although the makeup is monstrously bad. It's a full-blown devil horns, fire-breathing monster, and it naturally turns out the monster is the one that killed the fiance. That comes out much later.
Spoilers.
Looks like.
In case you were gonna watch the movie that you're trying to pitch.
No,
Now we don't have to watch it.
nobody's gonna watch this movie. It's delightfully terrible. The big twist is that there's sort of a romance between the girl and the monster, and she starts developing feelings for him, which the monster's like a raging alcoholic because he decided the world has gone to shit, nobody's scared of him anymore, and he wants to stop existing and just, die and fade out of existence.
Is this a monster movie, or is this some kind of allegory for...
It's an allegory for how terrible millennials are, really.
Oh god damn it! I never watched. Of course you sit at home and touch yourself and watch this movie.
Of course I do. And the whole thing is because of the way the monster is set up, as long as anybody believes in him, he can't die.
Which, if you understand Icelandic culture, he's screwed.
He's absolutely screwed. That's why he just marches into town every couple of weeks, kills the guy at the liquor store, raids the whole liquor store back to his lair, and just drinks all of it.
I like this monster.
Why kill the guy who goes to the liquor store every week?
Because he's a monster.
He's a monster, and he likes There's actually a line from the movie where he says, "How can I leave my lair and not kill someone? They're all such dickheads."
All right, fair enough. I'll stop interrupting your pitch. I apologize.
And it basically boils down to the girl trying to comfort the monster and finally realizing that the best way she can do that is to tap into all of her newscastery connections and convince the public that there's no such thing as monsters so he can fade out of existence.
Oh, so
it sounds like a good concept.
No such thing. Fantastic concept,
but
mediocre
not
execution.
executed.
Which, again, if you understand Icelandic culture, that's not gonna work.
I don't understand Icelandic culture.
So it's
but
fine.
I understand the characters.
They still believe in
I
elves.
hate you.
And there's a bit of a subplot where the girl's plane crashes on the way to Iceland, and her boss is like, "Oh, we can make you the story of the week and get all this sympathy because you're out there looking for your dead fiance and your plane crash and all." And she's like, "No, we're not making a story of this. This isn't news. That's just you bragging for ratings."
Isn't a plane crash news? Typically, a plane crash is news.
I know.
Specifically if it disappears.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like the only survivor. But he wants to make like a puff piece feel good story out of it. She's like, no, just report the facts. That's the news.
Oh, an actual journalist.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
A lot of the
Very
movie
rare.
revolves around the fact that she's an actual journalist in a world that's saturated with people that are looking for puff pieces and feel good and editorials, and she wants to report actual news.
This is like directly from your brain.
It really is.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Like it's like if Trav just birthed a movie from his skull.
If Trav jerked off and it became a movie, this is
Why?
that movie.
The major drawbacks of this movie is
My metaphor was way less gross.
Travis jerked off into the Tigris and Euphrates River, and behold, there wasn't.
And behold,
More along the lines of like it just falls.
and from the wilderness came a
That
king.
works still.
Or
I like how you made it very Mesopotamian.
Fuck yeah.
Interestingly enough, you probably won't like it nearly as much, but on that same concept, Claire and I were talking about earlier, Guillermo del Toro was doing a movie along a similar concept where you have a romance between the female lead and the monster. Shape of the Water. It looks really good. I'm excited. I'm really
I love
excited about
Guillermo del
it.
Toro.
It looks really
I
fun.
can't pronounce his name, but I love his work. The biggest drawback to this film is that a budget of no. So, like, notoriously, to promote the movie,
God, this is really bad.
to promote the movie, the guy who plays the monster walked through Times Square in full makeup, and like nobody paid him any attention whatsoever.
That's because
It
it's
is
Times Square.
I know.
Have you been
They
to
have a
Times
naked
Square?
cowboy.
I have
Is
not.
the naked
I have.
cowboy's got underwear on, right?
Yeah, but that's all he is wearing.
It's semi-naked go.
That's
They're
false
gonna arrest
advertising. That if they're gonna give me naked cowboy, I better see booty.
So anyhow, that's no
We'll
such,
take it up with De Blasio.
that's no such thing from 2001 starring a bunch of actors you've never heard of. So
I apologize for how often we interrupt your face.
okay.
Stop.
You actually helped me extend it, so it
Alright.
worked. So, onward to the meat of tonight's program. Again, this is a viewer request from Levena. Shout out. We're doing 1985's Legend.
I hold you responsible for this, Levena.
Yeah, again, directed by Ridley Scott as he was fresh off of like Alien and Blade Runner.
This is after Alien and Blade Runner.
Yeah, he,
Yeah,
he
Blade Runner was
literally-
after Alien, it was
He
7
literally
and
said he'd just come off doing The Duelist, Alien, and Blade Runner.
So this is his last good movie.
And he wanted to turn.
That's debatable.
He wanted
I
to
do.
round out his resume because the one area he hadn't yet touched was like high fantasy. So he was going to do a fairy tale. And it was like
I do have to say one thing that I find fantastic about this apparently is it has finally brought me and Jordan to agree on something.
This movie was bad.
No, Jordan liked it. Actually, you liked it too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Thank you.
He just said
reiterating
reiterated.
my point.
Consequently, we don't really have.
Thank you for showing your work and getting full credit on your math program.
Thank you. Consequently, we don't really have a silver screen showdown for you tonight because nobody felt strongly enough about this movie to attack it or defend it.
Heads up, we're getting a little garbly on sound. Just so you guys know.
That could just be the beer.
Yeah.
Are we
that's
getting
fair.
comments?
No, Levena's literally direct messaging me on Facebook.
Okay.
The only comment is also from her laughing evilly for Greg's pain.
Okay.
So,
I actually have no comments.
Well played, Levena.
You owe me 2 hours of my life.
no, you don't.
No,
Listen.
no, you don't. Don't listen.
No, you don't. Nobody owes Greg any hours of any life.
If anything, we owe like literally counts of people hours of their
Counterpoint.
life.
We've
I'm
been doing
going
this
to
for a
make this
while.
as a counterpoint. I will deduct this, the total number of hours I owe people, for nothing but trouble.
That's fair.
God, I haven't drinking enough to forget that movie.
Yeah,
I
alright.
can love them.
So I have to start this out by asking because Ridley Scott said that the inspiration for this movie was largely drawn from an adaptation of Beauty and the Beast by some director called Cocteau. And like, if anybody's ever heard of this, it's gotta be Jordan.
Oh yeah, Cocteau. Yeah,
Cocteau, that's how you pronounce it.
That's a fucking awesome movie. That's like
That was his litmus test to get a script writer for this movie.
That's
Was he's like he showed them Cocteau's Beauty and the Beast,
Right.
and he's like, if they were like, what the fuck did I just watch? Right out the door.
Right.
And he finally comes to this guy who's like, that was a pretty good movie. He's like, would you like to write a screenplay?
nice. And I love Ridley Scott. Thank you.
I have a question for the research man.
Yes, sir, ma'am.
Damn, man.
Well, we were talking about this earlier.
This is for you.
I need a gender neutral brat.
Whatever.
Yes, sir.
Did you look at how close did this come out to Labyrinth? What year was Labyrinth?
I don't know actually.
All right, so most of
I want to
was
say
way later.
77.
was it really?
No,
Yeah,
Labyrinth
I
was
think.
first.
No, because
No,
that was Bowie when he was after his weird hamburger experiment,
Yeah.
which puts it in the 80s when he got really poppy. So I want to go and say between 83 and 85.
And this was 82, right?
I swear
Because
Labyrinth was like
Bowie
87.
got out of his contract like late 70s, early 80s.
Right.
And that's when he switched over from that weird freaking scary.
1986. Labyrinth came out a year later.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
that's after his weird
So,
scary monster face.
Where this movie?
And here I was spending this whole time thinking that Mia Sarah was a poor man's Jennifer Connelly.
Oh no.
See,
Jennifer
so
Connelly wasn't
I
in this
wouldn't describe her as a former Jennifer Connelly, but this movie, I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one that got a lot of Labyrinth vibes from this.
For the Buckethead Goblin, he looks exactly out of Labyrinth.
A lot of
yeah.
I got super Labyrinth vibes from this movie. I've never even seen Labyrinth.
Labyrinth is an awesome movie.
It is really good.
It's a-
I don't think you'd like it.
Well, if you like this, you might like
I just
Labyrinth.
got the full rainbow commentary.
Well, here's the
Labyrinth.
question,
Apparently
Ryan.
That's what we need to be watching.
Here's the question.
I love
Do you
that
want
movie.
to dance the magic dance?
That's been stuck in my head
We
all
all
day.
do.
Go. Do I
Yeah,
get to
but-
keep my clothes?
Do you like David Bowie's dick in a codpiece? Because
Oh my
that's
God.
all
And
we-
copies, it just gets bigger and bigger as the movie
There's
goes.
actually become its own joke religion based on that movie, where it's called Unitology, and it's all dedicated to
Bowie's
David
unit?
Bowie's unit.
Oh my.
The
I think I found it,
codpiece.
man. I think I found my prime church right there.
There you go.
So wait, so Bowie is essentially Cod Peasington.
He is the most flamboyant, sexual but not sexual villain ever.
Back to Ridley Scott's Legend.
Okay.
I feel bad.
Do we? Someone want to do a summary or do I?
I think we should.
Do you want to do a play-by-play?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Play by frame it for me. Play by frame.
Oh, there we go. We
I have
can do our
some-
summaries with YouTube and call it frame by frame.
Oh, that's nice. I like
That's
that.
cute.
Well, you should love it. How do you came up with the names?
I love it.
Okay, well, do you want? I'll start and you
Yeah,
continue.
start it up.
Okay, all right. So we open in the forest with
She's not wrong.
Not wrong.
or at least from what I remember, we opened in the forest with a very like fair maiden fucking around with peasant ladies' garments, destroying your laundry for fun.
She's fucking around so much.
And
No.
There was wasn't there a prequel or a prologue? And
Yeah.
with the Lord.
Depends on which
that's
cut you're
right.
watching.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but I
There's the
think
opening crawl, which explains the
Crawl.
plot, which they explain
There
throughout
was an
the movie,
opening
which
crawl.
was
I
like,
don't like the opening crawl.
Yeah.
There was a particular version you're watching, and there was a monologue by Lord Darkness.
There wasn't an opening crawl in the version I watched.
I
There
didn't
was
get
a
an opening
monologue
crawl. I don't even
by
remember
Lord
monologue.
Darkness, and then there was an opening scene with Lord Darkness.
Darker than
explaining
the blackest
his evil
bitch, darker than
plans.
any something witch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like the theatrical version did the opening crawl, and the European director's cut did not.
There's too many versions of this movie.
And that's what I feel like our big.
It's almost up on Blade Runner.
I feel like the
Far
end
too
of
many.
this end of the table watched the director's cut, and this end of the table watched the theatrical version. I know I watched the theatrical version because basically Levena sent me the link because I'm lazy.
I watched
So
this movie
easy.
twice.
Trev has it on DVD.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen every version except the rough cut, so.
God, lag on this is bad because then I can, by the time I
It
get
always
done, I
is.
see my
Okay.
face.
Facebook.
So okay, so she destroys this old lady's undergarments, and then she goes inside for a snack, and they have a girl talk, and then she has a date with a weird forest
Well,
hermit.
this is a good fucking scene in the movie. Like, I really like the part where she destroys the old lady's undergarments or into
Why?
I don't know, because it just kind of like sets up this weird kind of like rural atmosphere for the whole thing. But, like, she's like a fucking she's super rich and stuff. She lives in palaces and shit, and she doesn't care about it, which kind of sucks for the end of the movie in like a whole lot of ways because she's like impressed by the fucking necklace. But I digress.
It goes and shows
Oh,
the
man.
greed is your primary.
But she's fucking around, you know, and she like talks to Nell and like it establishes her character as somebody who hangs out with forest people. And fucking
No, I do
kills
not
them.
have 4 great hours of life.
And like this this like scene's just like shot like really well. It's like before it gets like super freaking like
Yaffe.
well I'd say like middle school notebook unicorny. You know what I mean? Like super
Yes, I know.
Exactly.
All that Lisa Frank bullshit, yeah.
Yeah, man, like.
And here's
I'm expecting a picture from
unicorns.
Lisa Frank when you
It's
edit this.
because I'll say that.
But like this,
I'll say that.
like this scene's like shot really well. Like establishes like her character, and it establishes the kind of like, without actually doing like a stupid like crawl or anything like that. It kind of establishes the world that they live in. Because like when she's leaving, she's like, nothing can keep me from the forest because I have to date with the weird forest man. And she fucking leaves, and then like Nell's like establishing like the rules of the forest. She's like, don't fuck around because the elves are crazy, and don't mess around with trees or fairy circles.
I liked
you know?
how many.
Yeah.
I liked how many like things she named so quickly,
Yeah.
like avoid willow trees, and
Right.
fairy rings, and the banshee, and I'm like,
Right.
so what? Like, just don't do anything in the woods, honey.
Right.
Just live in a box.
And there's also
You're
like.
never into a banshee in the woods.
Well,
And we get, like,
in
we-
the original draft of this movie, as Jack is making his journey from the forest to Lord Darkness's stronghold, he actually encounters all of these things, and the warnings become like foreshadowing. But they ran out of time and money.
Right.
But
They
then
for-
since they had
It's
trouble
because the
production.
movie is like a fairy tale.
Right.
Like it's absolutely a fairy tale.
And they foreshadowed like the like the wintry, snowy, freezy shit.
With the clock.
Yeah, with the clock, which is awesome. I like the little like weird cuckoo clock with like the zombie that's chasing the
That's-
lady. or
Memento
something.
Mori is what comes to mind.
Yeah.
That seems. I mean, it seems like it's something weird, but also very much that
It's a
it would be something that was actually made.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like
And it's
the-
kind of like it kind of makes it timeless because it's like obviously like a Baroque clock, but everybody's all like super backwards and living in farms.
They could
and
not
it's
afford a
creepy.
Baroque clock.
That was
Yeah, they
immediately
couldn't.
what I thought too.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, how, what clock?
Well, like they wouldn't have made a Baroque clock.
Anachronism.
like they're like in
Well, the other thing
scenes.
is, how can they have a Baroque clock? It's supposed to be 1300. The Baroque period hasn't happened yet.
Right? It's gonna be like another 300
If you
years.
try and pin down a historical period for this movie, you might as well just go lay out in traffic.
It's fantasy.
Because
It's
I absolutely.
fantasy.
Wait, lay out for traffic?
Yeah, go just do that. Bye.
Okay, stop it. No, I mean I'm going by the director's commentary. Ridley Scott says if you're gonna pin down a period, it's like the 13th century.
13th century.
The
because
Black Plague hasn't even hit yet.
costuming doesn't even fit that period.
No, it does
It's
not.
inconsistent
Well,
costuming.
this is like people arguing over how back in the day, like with Warcraft. This is what this reminds me of. It's
Right.
like, well, they didn't do things like that back in the day. Back in the day when they had
Back in the
wizards
day,
cruising around on griffins.
Right?
It's a magic world of fairy tales.
Yeah.
And Ridley Scott, throughout the director's commentary, demonstrated extremely well that he has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. Like he was talking about 5 minutes about Pan being a god of the underworld. He just
No.
No.
Not at all. But it doesn't matter.
doesn't matter. Go back to your
Yeah, keep
Yeah.
going, frame by frame.
The next, like, really, like, well, I mean, they kind of have like weird forest sex, I guess. Like, I don't
Which
really
they
care
do
about
not
that.
have in the director's cut.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
wait,
like,
what?
Sex
Sex
doesn't
doesn't
sex
happen?
doesn't happen.
No, it's only in the theatrical version.
That's weird.
I actually looked
They
up.
have actual forest.
No,
Well,
that's
it's very
super
heavily implied.
It's
crazy
implied.
software.
strongly
force.
It makes a little bit more sense because when because a lot of times when I'm watching these movies, I'll go to Wikipedia and like I kind of like read along with the plot as I'm watching it, just as like kind of a did I miss something? Did I really catch something? And the Wikipedia plot, it summarizes Jack as like a lustful young man.
Right.
And I'm watching this and I'm like, how?
They make right
Yeah.
the fuck out.
Yeah.
before-
Oh, yeah.
She is.
And it's
So-
a real soft focus.
Oh,
and
she's
he leans
super all over.
I
and
took
doing
that
all
as
these
forest
things.
sex.
No, I think, and
Yeah.
that's the impression I got.
So-
The theatrical cut is softcore. Well, it would be softcore forest sex if they could like show boobs and stuff. But
Yeah.
But they
don't.
didn't because
No.
Ridley Scott was going aggressively for PG-13.
The crown princess of this country goes and has weird forest sex with this crazy forest hobo.
Fuck yeah.
I mean,
I question this kingdom.
I mean, if you're gonna have like crazy sex outside of a structured
It might as well
royal
be
relationship,
a
you
forest
might as well
hobo.
do it with a forest hobo because it's probably not creepy shit.
Forest Hobo has showed her his shotgun.
And Tom Cruise is just so squirrely as this character.
How he's squatting
He's-
and like
He squats at your dick first.
has, like, back-
And that's why you would have crazy forest sex.
Hell yeah.
And along with his like 3 weird front teeth and
Right?
God, his teeth were everywhere in this movie.
Okay, I eventually after they're done, I have to make a comment about the timeline of Tom Cruise's teeth. But I'm sorry, let's move on.
I'm gonna need more beer.
So then, as like instead of like having a postcoital cigarette, they go to have a postcoital look at unicorns.
You gotta do it. You know, you
Which
gotta
sounds like a post-coital precoital.
Hey, do you want to see unicorns?
We're not taking a break.
I want to
Intermission.
touch the unicorn.
Okay, zip.
I'm gonna get some water.
I love how nobody's
We're gonna switch
commenting on
positions.
this goblin
We're
is delightful pun at the beginning. How do I recognize this beast? It has a horn, thus I get the point, man. Like,
Of course, Trav would be like, yep.
I think it was. Did Darkness have his little speech to Blix?
Yeah, he's like sending the goblins out to fuck
Okay.
around.
Yeah.
Making
As
sure.
long as there are unicorns on, you will have to deal with the sun.
Oh, I recognize it. It's got a horn.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I like Blix as a character. The thing I don't like is he's inconsistent with his rhyming.
yeah.
Because
Because he's evil.
Yeah.
Originally, I was looking at a little bit of stuff. Apparently, they originally did intend all of Darkness and all of the Goblins' lines to be rhyming couplets.
that would be awesome.
But they just couldn't, like, apparently this show actually had a very troubled production. They almost ran out of money.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
They
why
did run out of
Blix
money.
disappears halfway
Well,
through
then
the
actually-
Yeah, that was one of my biggest problems. He just
Like
phases
rhyming.
out of existence.
Yeah, he's like no longer there.
Yeah,
Now
Rex
they-
and Pox just capture the unicorn, gone. Done.
That would actually make sense with like demonology for like rhyming demons. It's a much more powerful.
There's a
form
lot of
demon.
like really good lore in the
That
movie
is true.
overall because you have that. And when they're in the jail,
Oh,
that really like
iron.
really like the iron that the fairies like we don't do good with iron. And when Tom
They're
Cruise
still
is
that
talking about I can't remember when she tricks him when
Oh,
the
yeah.
fairy like takes the form
Your
of
mortal
she
soul
says-
is in jeopardy.
Right. And he says this is fairy glamour, not just fairy magic, fairy
Fairy
illusion.
glamour.
He uses the word
Yeah.
glamour, which is
Yeah.
super lore and
Well,
rich.
there was a ton of research that
Yes.
went into this, but a lot of it fell by the wayside because they ran out of money.
Yeah, that's what I'm about.
But I
They
will-
have to keep going.
They
They've
have to
only
keep
made it
going.
to like scene 2.
I would like Blix to rhyme constantly, and sometimes he doesn't. You know, like that would have been a cool thing for
So you would
his
like the
character.
demon Etrigan?
Yeah. kind of.
I am dying for an Etrigan live action movie. I'm dying for it. DC, get on that shit, right?
Because like he's super like lyrical with all this shit, but sometimes he just breaks it, and it doesn't make any sense. It'd be awesome if that's how like
well,
he
that
talks.
goes back to again.
Yeah, I'm wondering if
director's
that's
cut.
the cut and the editing.
Director's
Maybe.
cut and commentary. A lot of it was they were experimenting with language. Like they were supposed to be couplets, and then Jack and Lily were supposed to be in like very period appropriate speech. But then when they played that for test audiences, it was really
Old
wonky,
English.
like old English kind of, and it didn't play well.
With freaking the gump, it would actually be German.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they turned around and went, yeah, no. Aside from the scenes we've already shot, they're gonna speak modern because it just works better.
That makes sense. Anyway.
Okay, so in the unicorn scene, Lily's got to touch a unicorn.
He has to.
Which he
I thought
has
I
to.
already had coitus.
And Jack knows that this is a horrible idea, but he's a forest hermit, so he's not good at expressing himself very clearly. So this is how
See,
everything
this scene works
goes to
better
shit.
without the forest sex because it's totally a metaphor for forest sex that you would give for kids. How
Yeah, see, that's-
Don't touch a unicorn.
Don't fuck around with that horn.
I think that's also a big difference between the theatrical and the director's cut. When the minute they said only the souls of the pure can touch the unicorns, I went virgins. And then they had sex, and I'm like, never mind, not virgins. But in the director's cut, they don't have sex, I can keep going virgins. Like, I could just go with it. But then having that scene in there makes me go, okay, never mind, not
But
virgins.
she does fuck a unicorn up, and like
She does.
she does love the goblin.
Brazzers?
Shoot that fucking thing.
Whoa.
Brazzers.
This isn't Valerie and Balowski's budget.
That would be awesome.
No, right?
It'd just be unicorns fucking for 5 minutes and look like a fucking weird monster.
Wow.
This is unicorn sex.
On the
This is
subject
fun.
of unicorns and their horns,
Right.
HD was not kind to this movie
No.
in that
Yeah.
regard more than anything. Like a lot of the costumes held up actually kind of well.
You can
like
see the
goblins
unicorn
held
horns
up.
flopping.
Not only can you see the unicorn horns flopping, you can see like where they're glued glued to
Yep.
the
You
forehead.
see a dark ring around
And
the
like it's
forehead.
just, oh, this is a movie that I should be watching on an old school TV.
Comment from the internet. Did anyone notice that Blix and Gump were the same actor?
No.
Yeah, I didn't know.
They were the same actor.
Wrong.
Oh.
All right,
They were the
listen.
same voice.
All right, fight with Levena on the internet. I'm just relating.
There was
There was a rather attractive young woman under all that goblin makeup. Blix was a very German little boy. But when they did a test screening of the movie before the producers that were looking at this, one of the producers turned to Ridley Scott and went, "You can't do that with Gump. He sounds like a goddamn Nazi." Because the actor that was cast for Gump, he's supposed to be a Black Forest fairy. So the actor's first language was German. He has a super thick, alright, now this is the day when I'm going to get Mega Man kind of accent. And it came through really strong. This producer was adamant that, Gump and the actor playing him sounded like a Nazi. So they redubbed all of Gump's lines. They cut out all of his dialogue. And the actress who plays Blix the Goblin redid all of his lines.
Why's the brother gotta be a Black Forest fairy?
Once again, relaying to
There's
the internet,
Schwarzbomb.
and I'm gonna editorialize. Voice fine.
She would do it like that.
Another interesting tidbit about Blix the Goblin, when they were trying to come up with the makeup and all that, the actress who played Blix the Goblin was like, I want him to be somebody really scary, modeled after a really scary person, so how about like Mick Jagger?
Nice.
To be fair, Mick Jagger does frighten me.
So like the cheekbones and the lips, I mean, once you know it's Mick Jagger, you can't not
That's
see it.
Nazi again.
And also, moving on. Thanks to Jordan showing us that one video the one week.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, performance?
Yes.
Moving on.
Memo from Turner.
Performance.
You love it. You'll love it when you watch
So
it.
unicorns.
Right, anyway.
So, yeah,
It's Stockholm syndrome.
Unicorn gets a dart into its neck because
From an awesome smoky poison dart.
Yeah,
taste,
it's a-
which is
it's a-
almost
that
my
was-
favorite.
that whole
It's a beautiful shot.
Yeah,
In both senses.
editing wise, it's awesome because it actually like builds that fucking tension.
Yes.
Like you see Blix and his fucking buddy like hanging out, and like a fucking Jack, fucking Tom Cruise. He's like, oh, don't fuck with the unicorn, but he doesn't say it too loud, you know.
like, "Don't fuck with the
does,
unicorn."
yeah.
Ugly one-horn fuel.
Right.
Yeah.
Your mortal soul is in danger.
yeah, so a unicorn runs off, he's spooked, he's super upset. Lily runs after Jack, and Jack, I'm kind of fuzzy here. He dives off a cliff into the
She
water.
throws
She
the
throws
ring
a ring.
into the water.
Right, okay.
I'll marry whoever gets this. Okay.
Like
So
they
he
don't
just dives right
they don't
after
seem to
it.
realize that there's a crisis happening, so they kind of go on with
Well,
their
that's
life.
because the unicorns run off. The unicorn gets shot with a poison dart, and the unicorn runs off. Then the other unicorn runs off after it. Jack assumes Lily just scared it,
Yes.
so they don't realize there's a crisis going on yet. So they go back to flirting in the woods and being all, oh, we're in love. And she goes, I'm out. She goes, they make some kind of comment.
I'm a
about
princess,
it
I
being
can set a
inappropriate
challenge
because
for
I'm not
myself.
married. And then she goes, well, I'll marry whoever gets this ring, and she throws it into the water. Before it even hits the water, Jack's like, dibs, and
Okay.
dives right in
Tom
after
Cruise does a
it.
sweet clip.
It's
dive,
an
I'm
improvement
pretty
over
sure.
Game of Thrones.
No, he doesn't do stuff.
According to
Oh, that's what he.
Which, according to Ridley Scott, is like an homage to
Wow,
like
yeah.
Wagner's Ring Cycle.
That
I can see it. But
I was thinking Lord
This
of the
is
Rings.
one of those
the
rare
entire time.
occasions where Tom Cruise did not do his own stunts.
Oh no.
Really?
Because the cliff wasn't all that high, they wanted to make the illusion of it being higher. Instead of it being Tom Cruise and Mia Sara up there, it's a 10-year-old who went on to become an Olympic high diver.
That's for the 10-year-old.
And like Ridley Scott's 7-year-old daughter in costume to look like Jack and
So it looks like the cliff is higher.
so that they would make it look bigger and higher. Yep.
The only thing that disappointed me about that is how basically he just goes down there and he gets it. And like that's the end of it.
No, actually,
No, he
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
doesn't
gets
get it.
He had to break through the ice to get out.
I wish that they would have revisited the ring thing later.
They do.
They do a theatrical
In
cut.
the theatrical.
Yeah.
It got cut from the
European guy.
I was like, where's my Chekhov's
There's-
wedding ring?
There's
Yeah.
that like.
That happens.
God
in
damn it, we
theatrical
really
This
all
seems to
watch
be-
different movies
did.
here.
What seems to be one of the big differences between the theatrical and the director's cut is a more ambiguity of the relationship between Jack and Lily. Is that they're much more like, yeah, definitely in the director's cut, and more shaky in the director's cut. They're more set in the theatrical because that scene is absolutely one of the last scenes in the movie.
Yeah, it's like goofy ass.
After when she falls in a coma.
Yeah.
Well, no, what I was thinking was I wanted to see Darkness find that ring somehow. And
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
That's what I
God.
wanted.
See, that would have been awesome, which is why Ridley Scott never would have done it.
That's what I wanted to see. I wanted him to produce that ring when he's trying to seduce her with his sweet dance
That would've
moves.
been badass.
And be like,
Yeah.
but I've got the ring.
Instead, he's all sick. Have a chat. Let's talk.
Alright, so scares the unicorn off.
Right. And then shit gets real. Stuff starts exploding, everything gets cold, like because meanwhile the goblins have like slashed off the unicorn's horn and
They're fucking around with it. They're running. They're running around the forest.
they're shooting magic out of the horn, like
Which is exactly what
so
I
you go into that old lady's house that Lily destroyed her underwear before. And they're just like fucking up everything. And so I don't know what happened to the old lady. She
got
free.
She got frozen.
solid.
The house is frozen.
I missed that.
And
So
so
it's
is
probably
her whole
removed in
family.
whichever cut you're
So like the
watching.
old lady's sitting there frozen, like the guy, and Lily looks at her and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're frozen." And like she looks at the baby in the crib, and like
that was dark.
Like it's frozen and dead. Like it's it's a messed up little shot. She's like, "Oh, they're
I'll make it better. No, you won't.
You'll make it
And this
worse.
is the point. Like I like already kind of hate Lily at this point because like she's like
Super selfish.
yeah, she just seems selfish and she seems like immature and like she doesn't like
This partially goes back to one of the
strike me as
half-developed ideas that went into this thing, because Ridley went into this with all but a ton of ideas and he didn't explore any of them fully. All of the major characters are supposed to represent one of the 7 deadly sins, and Lily is greed.
not
what?
lust.
Greed?
Now Jack is
Jack
lost.
Oh, that makes sense.
It makes sense knowing what I know about the other version
Yeah.
of the movie I didn't see.
Yeah. So in that sense, that whole selfishness and all that, because she's greed, it makes a certain degree of sense. But
yeah.
We lost one of our friends.
well, the other frame.
Yeah.
Technically, there's 2 frames in frame right now.
Yeah.
Aww.
I don't know. So this whole scene, she's hiding in the rafters or something, watching the goblins
Yeah.
run around, and she vows like she's gonna make things better, make it right or whatever. I don't know.
I have to say real quick here. As time goes on in this movie, she gets hotter.
A little bit.
She does.
She gets
Because
hot
she
when
goes
she gets
evil.
gothy.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually,
evil
no,
chicks
less
are
hot. Well,
Yeah.
well, when she looks disheveled, she's more hot.
Actually, honestly,
Moral of the story,
I gotta
God likes
go with
that.
but especially with the goth.
Yes,
that
when he goes the full
I
goth.
know.
And the
We're
gigantic
not there yet, so I don't
plunging
wanna
V.
comment.
So meanwhile, Jack is somewhere else and he meets Gump.
I love goth. by the
Go.
way.
And
I hated that.
Huh?
Continue.
I hate elves.
Summarize the scene and then I'll comment. on
Okay,
it.
so
They're different in
they're
It
like
doesn't matter.
they through conversation find out what happened. That he took Lily to see a unicorn because they had
Love.
sex and whatever.
True love.
So
You did what?
And then he freaks out. Yeah, and then they just
The fact that it was
wine.
for love is the only reason that Gump spares his life.
Yeah.
No, the reason that he got the riddle right.
Riddle's not in the theatrical version.
The
I
fact
saw the riddle.
I saw the
Basically, Gump
the
says,
riddle's not
I
in
will
the
ask you a riddle. If you answer it correctly,
I
I'll
will
let you
kill you.
live.
That's not in the theatrical version.
If you
The
get
theatrical
it
version is purely
wrong,
love.
it will be your death knell.
Yeah.
What is a bell that does not make a
it's
noise?
a bell that does not ring, yet its knell
Makes the angels
makes
sing.
the angels sing.
I know this, but that is not in the
And it's
theatrical
like
version.
a really crazy, super
obscure
Danish.
But yeah, it fits more with the whole fairy tale vibe.
And then Gump starts having like a death spasm on the snow.
He's smashing his
He got it right.
Which is a reference to the Sphinx going into a suicidal death throw after the riddle is answered correctly.
Which the answer is bluebells because Levena just answered it. And then they drink.
And then they
but-
drink.
The best drink under heaven.
And the last
theatrical version. It is, I did it because for Lily, like for love, and that is considered enough by the fairies. That the love is enough of a reason for him to have done it.
Not with the Fae, just following Fae's
I
logic.
hated-
That's so alien.
I hated the fairies.
I loved Gump.
The characterizations of them, everything was fine.
Just the way they looked.
No, not even that. Basically the full total dependence on the storytelling from that point forward in the movie on them.
Really?
I felt it stopped being a movie being shown by showing and everything being told to you with pretty stuff coincidentally going on.
Agreed.
That was my single absolute biggest negative strike on this movie.
I don't know if I got
is
that.
once the fairies show up, it stops being like you don't identify with fairies, you identify with Jack, you identify with Lily. That's supposed to be your viewer
I
identification.
mostly identify with darkness.
That's supposed to be your viewer identification.
I identify with the one with the
Shut
glass on
up. It's your viewer identification is through the main characters and the protagonists, and you take up until then you have Jack explaining everything to Lily, so it's kind of a hand-in-hand moving forward explanation of the world around you because it's not Earth, because it's a fantastical realm. Now all of a sudden fairies just lay everything out every time anything comes up, and it's there, and that takes away from everything moving forward because it's not just that scene. It's every time they're on screen moving forward, they explain absolutely everything, and that's the biggest takeaway. It stops being a movie it's telling you by showing,
Right.
it's telling you by telling, and it's
It's
lazy.
a huge movie.
Yes.
I,
But
I
also when
sorry, go ahead. I personally feel that maybe it's a difference in versions. That we've watched different versions.
Yeah.
That the theatrical version started to make that mistake much earlier, because there's the line where Jack, and this is what really bothered me. Jack is like, she goes to touch the unicorn, and Jack's like, "You can't do that. Everybody knows that." Blah blah blah. blah. Exposition.
It's like, no, not everybody knows that.
Exposition fairy.
Exposition.
Exposition fairy, and that felt very little like literally telling instead of like showing or explaining by context. So maybe that's something, and I don't know if that's a theatrical versus director version, but I felt the theatrical version started to do it much sooner. So when the fairies and the elves started to do it, I cared less because it was already happening.
Yeah, because it
So
was
I
part of
didn't-
the movie at that point.
I was like, I guess that's how we're doing
that.
that. Maybe
Because it's so more or less, it's that they shifted the focus. All of a sudden, it's not Jack doing it, where he's an established character, where he's the knowledgeable, wise man in the woods. Now it's these wizened little old guys, except it isn't, because we have like a scene where, which you guys are getting to, where Jack goes and he apologizes for the surviving mare unicorn, and when he gets back up to the top, Gump is sitting there and he asks him, "What did the unicorn say? What happened?" And he explains the whole prophecy that they need to find a champion. But I'm getting ahead of us, and I'm going to turn it back over to the fighters.
Okay. So, and meanwhile, Lily's followed these goblins back to Palace where darkness lives to try and save everything. But we're with Jack and Gump, and then they go into the swamp next?
Yeah, they go talk to the mayor.
You missed a whole bunch.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
some-
but like I mean, a lot of it is.
remember
Yeah.
like Rum Tom or whatever, like tries to fight the goblins come to.
Yeah, Rum Tom has
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they shot me in the brain pan.
Yeah, they shoot him in his
There's
head.
a huge sequence where the goblins are dancing around, waving the horn, and darkness shows up and says, "So, did you kill the unicorns?" "Yes, my lord, absolutely."
And that one.
"You lied! There is dawn!"
Right? And
"Oh,
the
well,
one,
maybe we didn't kill the mayor."
the goblin
grabs
with the
the
fucking
unicorn
horn,
horn.
like
That's
tries
right,
to
I
fucking
remember that
smoke him really quick, and he summons a mummy to fucking kill him.
Really huge non sequitur. That's my biggest. This is the thing about
The adios amigos.
Adios, amigos. Is
Yeah.
jumping up. And there's a reason for this. Ridley Scott felt that anybody under 5 feet tall was comic relief, and he just threw that in there because he thought it was funny, proving to me that Ridley Scott has no sense of humor.
But it seems like you and him would have a very similar sense of humor.
Oh,
If you wrote the screenplay, would you have put adios amigos?
I would not have it. It's just not appropriate for the character.
Auf
of the character.
Wiedersehen!
Right.
yeah, he would
Possibly that.
have been au revoir, what I mean, or something like
Something
that.
like that, yeah.
Or whatever Gaelic for goodbye is.
But so yeah, that happens, and then we get to then Jack has to go get his magic armor after the unicorn apologist.
Spear and magic helmet.
Spear and magic helmet.
Magic helmet.
And
Yes,
no pants,
magic.
which is
Zero
important.
pants.
No fucking
pants
pants.
at all.
He's a forest child. He lives in the forest. There's briars, there's poison ivy,
He's
there's all these bugs.
ready to beg.
No pants.
Anytime. Dare not. Pants would only slow him down.
He does his
That's a good
big
point.
first squat.
I mean, I guess it's Tom Cruise, so you have to expect that, but
I can see the logic of the no pants with the idea of innocence, the knowledge that you're not naked, so not wearing pants.
No, but
I like
he's
how
got-
you take more.
yeah.
I like how you take, honestly. I mean, because he does cover his junk.
Yeah, 20%.
Did anybody else notice in the scene when he gets the fur cape, like when he's really cold, where he's got the cape thrown back? I'm like, that's a big goddamn safety pin in there.
I didn't notice it.
It's that huge, like one of those giant ass safety pins on the inside of the cape. I'm like, and I've been thrown out of the movie.
So they go to get weapons, and this is the fucking me and Tyler, right? Fucking we watched Legend like a long time ago on VHS, like maybe like 7 years ago, and like all we could do like all night was go weapons. That's all we were saying to each
Lock
other.
and load montage.
Fucking like hours, man, because like
How high were you?
not at all. We might
Tyler,
be-
it's not very.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but because he's asking like, we're gonna need fucking weapons to kill the guy, and the fucking gut comes out. Weapons!
Now I'm just imagining Gump in a German accent going, Weapons!
Weapons!
We will get to be too rocky to fight darkness.
Which leads to one of the big anvilicious, this is going to be important later things, where Una reveals that, she can change her size because she's totally not Tinkerbell. And this becomes
And
important.
Jack is Peter Pan.
Not
And they gotta get the thimble and everything, and I just.
Right, just,
So he gets his weapons.
He gets his weapons. They fucking go on their quest, and they end up in this goddamn swamp with this hag, which is awesome. This is
I do love the hag scene.
Yes, and the hag scene in the European cuts is different. It's way fucking longer.
Yes.
She's like, you find old magnificent bones beautiful. That's
You
not
find
like
it. It's bad, Jack.
Oh, it'll be a delicious meal with how sweet your tongue is.
The rest
Yeah.
of it will be as sweet as your tongue.
Yeah, she's like talking about how she's gonna eat him and shit. And she's like clawing on this weird shield. And
the
stuff.
whole thing is inspired by the legend of Jenny Greenteeth, and in the early drafts of the script, her name's actually Jenny Greenteeth, and then they changed it to Meg Knucklebones for reasons Ridley Scott can't remember.
Right, because Meg Knucklebones sounds awesome.
No, that does. That is a badass name.
Yeah.
Or is Jenny Greenteeth where we get like the green hag and all that?
Jenny Greenteeth just sounds like somebody, like if I ate too much lettuce.
Oh, you forgot to watch the thing is. It's gonna be your pirate name.
That's my new pirate name, Jenny Greenteeth.
But yeah, like if you're a D&D player or a Pathfinder player at all, Jenny Greenteeth is where we get the green hag.
Yeah.
For, all of that fun stuff.
I hear she's awesome.
I'll go take the Irish hag over that.
So then after the hag, they get captured.
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Trying to reconnect.
Oh no!
I can finish. And
There we go.
Hey, we're back.
Do we have sound viewers?
Please
It's
let
an
us know.
important question.
Anybody?
I'll
Anybody at all?
We're trying.
We can't hear.
Also, your broadcast keeps getting weird.
Broadcast-
Okay, we have sound. Lavina just said, okay.
Excellent.
Thank you, Levena.
Give us a kiss,
And
Jack. Before
Thank you,
dinner.
Right.
Yeah, we had a
Just
big hiccup just now, so.
Interesting thing for the Meg Knucklebones character, the actor playing Meg Knucklebones. Yeah, it's a dude.
Oh, hold up again. It's.
It's fucking up again.
All right, we had another big lag spike. Do we have sound here?
Can you hear me now?
Gone again.
Good.
Hold on. Yes, we have sound again.
Okay.
The actor, the actor underneath all of the Meg Knucklebones makeup is the same guy that played from Star Trek, the holographic doctor.
Oh, nice.
Really?
Same
From
dude.
Voyager.
From Voyager. Yes.
Really?
Yes, and he's not like a little like. I mean, he's not a big named actor, but he's done a lot of shit.
Same dude. Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, so I guess the difference between like Jack is much more confident in the theatrical version. In the director's cut, he's more like, oh shit, what the hell am I doing?
He's very mousy. He runs away and hides.
And
He
the
drops
makeup-
his sword in this one.
Yeah,
Like when he's fucking with Magneto, though, he loses all the goddamn weapons that he fucking got out of the hole, like 2 fucking minutes ago. Like,
Well, when you think about it, it's because he's just this weird forest child that said, hey, you gotta go kill this dude now. Here's magic gear. Like, I don't know how to use any of this. I don't have proficiency in martial weapon.
right? So he just fucking loses his sword and his shield. And
He
stuff.
definitely, that would be a good way to describe it. He does not have proficiency with the weapons they hand him.
Right.
0 training. I'm like, what did you think was gonna happen?
He's got proficiency with Big the armor, critical though, hits because and he's going whacks off her back. head.
Fair
He's only got
enough.
civil weapons.
Well, it's because he took a
Somehow
negative
she
4.
manages to scream for like a full 30 seconds after
Without her
her head's been
head.
locked off.
Which is awesome, because she's a horrible hag from the swamp, so she can do
I
that.
did
At
like
least
it.
6 seconds would make sense, though.
An interesting thing from a technical standpoint, early on the swamp where you see like the water going and all that, Ridley Scott is great for his attention to detail. He couldn't have had like a little mock-up model or something under the water creating the ripples, or even just like a little bobber. No, that's actually the actor in full makeup under the water making all the ripples, holding his breath until they told him it was okay to come up.
Fucking brilliant.
So I'm learning that Ridley Scott is a huge nerd.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's awesome.
He's almost as much of a control freak as, oh god, what's his name? Freaking,
Stanley Kubrick.
Yes, Kubrick.
Kubrick is a nut.
Wait
so-
until you find out that Ridley Scott's also a furry, but we'll get to that.
Oh!
Ew. So they're in their trap. They get trapped after the swamp, and
They get
one guy
imprisoned in
gets-
the most like fucking black metal album
Yeah.
cover fucking.
yeah.
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 There has to be a sea of undead.
I was expecting him to find the Loch Nar underneath, because this is like
Right.
totally heavy metal kind of
It's
shit.
so awesome. We'll do metal album cover. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then one guy gets cooked. Blunder gets taken off to be cooked.
Technically. We'll
Right.
get to that.
And they get this weird thing where like fucking Blunder or whatever, the guy who got Bubble, the guy who got fucking jacked by the mummy.
No, it is definitely Blunder. He's right.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am 100% sure.
I never knew his name until Trav told me outside a few minutes ago. That's one of the failings of this movie. Is like that guy is a
They don't
character.
name.
They don't name anybody. Like,
So
we
why?
always-
Except for Rum Tom, they don't name
Weird
fucking
names.
anybody.
we hear
Yeah.
Round Tom, but like
gun?
for years and years, I thought his name was Round Tom.
I thought his name was Rum Tom.
It's actually Brown
Round Tom.
Really? Because he's
no,
like a
it's
drum,
Rum
so I thought it was
By the
Rum
end,
Tom.
according to the ending credits, it's Brown Tom.
It
Okay.
is Brown Tom.
I thought it was Round Tom for years.
Nice. Well, anyway, it's like weird because it kind of establishes him and like the other like fucking leprechauns and shit as like knowing each other. They're like, oh brother, you know. they're,
And then
like,
one
all
of them
this
was undercover, quote unquote,
right,
with
trying to
darkness.
fucking jack up darkness. I'm
He said that
convinced.
he said that he went on an adventure and got in over his head. And this goes back to what I was saying a second ago about Ridley Scott being a furry. He's got that one arm that's transformed.
Right.
But I'll get into that
This
later.
one weird chicken arm or whatever, or his lizard arm. Yeah. So they
Yeah. So then Una's like, can you piss?
Jack's just being a cockblocker.
This goes back to what I was
Yeah.
saying about Una being able to change size became an important plot element.
And the Gump was not amused by this.
No.
He was so pissed. I don't really know why.
Because you kept the secret
I
from
get
the
a
Gump.
very like King of the Fairies vibe from him.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's sort of like that's a running theme is that the King of the Fairies is like that like if the King of the Fairies is supposed to have absolute control over his
He's
people.
gotta know like everything. Very
Yeah.
very well.
So then that's like this is a secret that she's kept from the King of the Fairies. So that's more of the problem. Regardless of what the secret was, the problem was that she kept the secret.
An interesting thing about the actor who played Go is David something or other that I can't remember, but I'm sure. Doug
You
Black-
showed me the name and I properly pronounced it.
That was the writer.
Oh, okay.
He had some sort of a developmental thing. He's 19 at the time this movie's showing. He's got the body of a tank, basically.
Not developmental, it'd be physiological.
He's got Webster's
It's
disease.
some genetic. But because of this,
What is the definition of pervert?
he's built an entire career, even up to this filming of this movie, playing Puck in A Midsummer Night's Dream. That's his go-to thing. So he brings all of that puckishness to Gump.
That's just one thing.
Okay, so then my favorite scene of the movie is Lily getting haunted by the dress and getting gothy.
That is Levena's favorite scene as well.
That's the best part. I mean, it was like
It's when she gets hot.
this entire
Yeah, she does
movie.
get super hot.
The ultra plunging
It was
neckline.
super
That is-
creepy.
Neckline that plunges down below her navel.
Yeah.
I loved it until I found out that the actress was 16, about to turn 17 at the time of filming.
Well, that's your age range.
Sorry. It's like she's interpretive dancing her way to becoming evil.
I love it. It's aesthetically
I can
it's
tell you,
beautiful.
but I'll show you.
Yeah.
And the dress is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And there's that whole sequence with her being like so distracted by
She's got
the
that
glitter.
fucking black
Yeah.
lipstick, which
Oh,
doesn't make sense for her character because she's excited about rural shit, and then she finds a necklace. That's my whole problem with Lily.
It's fair enough.
It goes back to her being the embodiment of greed.
Yeah, I love that whole sequence, and I love the actress they used, or whoever they had in that scene. I love how they didn't like try to like CGI out the person, but they
CGI
had
didn't
somebody.
exist yet.
Well, they like tried to like green screen it or whatever, but they had
They didn't
someone
even
in
have green
that
screen at that
glittery
point.
hood and the
Yeah.
glittery gloves. So there was still a figure in there. I
Yeah.
thought that was a really beautiful aesthetic.
Look
I
well
don't
done.
understand the weird cherub that kind of moves around and does fucking nothing.
It's just to be gross. Is
It
that
is one of those
European?
things
It's
that
in
comes
the
up.
European in the extended cut, and it is like it's not practical effect. It's not a puppet or anything.
It's
That's
just a
actually
dude.
a short dude
Yeah.
in like really awesome makeup, but his purpose is never explained. He's
Yeah,
just
it's like
He's just there to be gross. in the
Well, there's
background.
a
That's
there's a
awesome.
recurring theme. As long as after Lily gets captured, as long as she's in Darkness's castle, she's constantly being watched somewhere. You see that sequence? Maybe you did
With the chair.
where the chair is opening up its eyes and watching.
Yeah, that's not in the. I don't think that's
Yeah.
the theatrical.
She's constantly being watched. There's no point in time where she's in the tree castle, Darkness's fortress, whatever you want to call it, that she has any sort of privacy or anything. She's constantly being watched, and the chair serves that purpose, but it's the only purpose he serves.
Okay.
Real quick.
Gross.
Levena said that the music for that scene with the dress is much better. In the theatrical release, Tangerine Dream is way better than the classical.
Oh, honey,
screw
we
you.
disagree really hardcore because I did not like the soundtrack of that. So now we have to get divorced. So
That is the
Yeah,
saddest
gay
thing.
divorce.
There was a non-classical piece to that dance.
There was
Yes.
2 different soundtracks to this
I
movie.
knew that.
Yeah.
I do not like
I
the
was
Tangerine
going to
Dream
get into
soundtrack.
this later, but one of the big differences between the theatrical
Vangelis.
release and the
Oh, I'll go with Vangelis.
the European release and
Blade
the
Runner.
director's
Yeah.
cut
Yeah.
was
It'd be
originally
awesome.
Ridley Scott had commissioned a full score for this entire, and it's a full classic piece, and it has a very Wagner, Cycle of the Rings feel to it, and it's beautiful, and it goes with the whole movie. But then going back to what I said earlier about Ridley Scott taking critique and feedback from exactly the wrong people. During one of the early showings, there were these 2 stoners in the front row who hated all the classical music. So he ripped all the classical music out and then commissioned a soundtrack by Tangerine Dream. And that's where it got applied to the
You should have
theatrical.
just gone with Vangelis.
They should have gone with Vangelis.
It's Jerry Goldsmith.
Goldstein. Or Goldsmith, yeah.
Goldsmith, who I think is an amazing composer, is in the theatric or is in the director's
He's in all
cut,
the good
and I do not like the soundtrack in the theatrical cut because
Tangerine
it's
Dream has done
so
good film.
it's so synth though. I don't like it. I don't think it
Yeah,
fits
it's
the
not a good
aesthetic.
film.
They did
Yeah.
I
as
can't
well as
imagine
you
a
could.
non-classical piece right
Yeah.
now.
Like, if you want really good synth music, go with Vangelis.
Right. For real.
I just want to take
Way
a
more
moment
than-
for all of my fantasy football friends who don't watch this cast. Here he is, right here.
Now hand it over to Ryan real quick.
No, we're running out of time. We gotta keep going.
Okay, so then Darkness propositions. Well, not really. I mean, he kind of tells her like,
This is how it's gonna be.
But the confusing part of this for me is that like his emphasis is on like he just wants her to talk.
Sit
to
down and
him.
talk.
I love this scene.
Really?
Yes, I really do. Because
I
it
was
is one of
confused
the,
by
in
it.
my opinion, I feel like it's one of those, like, very classic, like bathe her and bring her to me sequences, like which is a TV tropes comment for it.
Have you ever seen Heavy Metal?
No, I have
That's where
not.
that comes from.
Is that
Also,
where it comes from?
yeah.
Okay. Where he's like, oh, I'm in love with her, or I'm like, at least I got the hots for her.
We should do Heavy Metal.
But it's such an interesting aesthetic is that it's not nearly as physically aggressive as those sequences are, and he's trying to like come off as charming, and it's mixed success. So I think that's one of the best. I love the scene, but partially because I just love the way Tim Curry plays it. I like this movie 100 times more anytime Tim Curry's on the screen.
Yeah.
So that probably affects my opinion.
Yeah. So talking about why that scene came to be. In the original draft of the script, that scene wasn't there because Darkness decides he likes Lily, and he literally just throws her down a razor.
Well, I'm kind of glad Ridley Scott dialed that shit back.
Ridley Scott turned around and went, you know what? I'd rather prefer this have a PG rating. So,
And also, he already did a movie that focused on rape.
yeah. So he turned around and he decided to have this scene. And one of the big themes with Lily's character is that she's a temptress, she's a seductress. Early on, we see her tempting and seducing Jack. Then the unicorns get mad at her, and we see her tempting and seducing the unicorn to make her feel better when she starts singing to them.
Not in the theatrical.
Yeah, she absolutely sings to the unicorn to make it feel better.
Not at all in the theatrical.
I remember that. That's not the one we watched.
And then, you know, it ultimately accumulates in her tempting and seducing Darkness while he's trying to seduce her, and that's where this scene comes from. And the direction about this basically went, hey, Tim Curry, eat as much scenery as you can.
Well, I mean, if you tell that to Tim Curry, you're going to lose a wall.
I know, right?
That man is good at eating scenery. Like, God, he's good at it.
You're gonna find it.
But it's this back and forth between Lily and Lord Darkness where they're each trying to seduce and tempt each other. And the point of concession is he wants her to just sit down in the chair and have a talk with him.
Eat that spooky black plum.
I love that, though.
Me too. I loved all the goth food they had.
Oh, I did too.
I think my favorite part about this conversation, because like for me it kind of broke his character. Like I don't know, it felt like he could be brought down by this chick that he just like haunted into a
It's not that
goth
he's
dress.
brought down by a chick in a goth dress. He's brought down by love.
We could all get brought down by a chicken.
And a chicken in a goth dress with an amazing neckline.
It's
All
supposed
the
to
way down.
But he's evil.
It's
The
supposed
love doesn't go.
It's
It
supposed to be
doesn't
another permutation on, you know, you think of the old stories of the really odd bumpkin who outwits the devil. It's like, if you build this bridge, I'll give you the soul of the first person to walk across it. And then they said to go to cross the bridge. And that's the soul that the devil gets. And he's been outwitted by this nobody from the middle of nowhere. It's playing off of that kind of mythology.
I view it as like one of those fairy tale things where like love conquers all. And that's kind of how it is. It can even take down the demon darkness.
I viewed it as maybe the Darkness hasn't got laid in a long time.
I mean,
I think it's just like, wow, that is a plunging ass neckline and some nice boobs out
Yeah, if
there.
I was the Darkness, Lily would be on the goat deck. Like.
But I
I'd
do
be like,
like.
Lily, come forth upon my goat.
And we get a taste of what that might be like because he does make that sausage noise.
Yeah, he does.
When she says she wants to be the one to kill the unicorn.
He makes the
Yeah.
black apple
Oh,
sausage noise.
He totally makes the sausage noise.
He was just like, that was Tim Curry. Like you can't really see Tim Curry under all that makeup, other than that scene where you see him going, like you can just see that like Tim Curry.
A little bit of Tim Curry trivia. This role as Darkness is what got him cast as Hexus in
Nice.
Oh no, I can see it. He's got such a good voice for it. So he had to take the horns off in between each scene because they hurt his head too bad.
I can see that.
Anyway, so we would slaughter this fucking unicorn. We get some super doom metal intro dialogue. I don't think the unicorn dies in a sacrifice tonight. Right? And at that point, Jack and like all his leprechaun friends make a little fucking prison break, and they decide that, you know, it's a good idea to shoot sunlight down into the chamber with like these polished giant ladders. That
Well,
they
it
find
helps
in
that
space
throughout the
station.
movie, Darkness has been announcing, "Sunlight is my bane, it will
Right.
destroy
And
me."
in the theatrical cut, they hear him through the door. The Gump's like, "Ooh, what? Sunlight? How can we use that?" And he's like, "Oh, Jack's got an idea. Nice." Yeah. So they set up this elaborate fucking death ray to kill Darkness. Like right at the point where they're gonna do this unicorn sacrifice, which is awesome. Like
Very
this
metal.
is fucking sweet and metal scene. They got like a tied up unicorn. There's all these crazy demons. But before that, they fight the two cooks, the two demon cooks, because like
They're
they
actually
get,
supposed to be giants.
yeah, because they get fucked like trying to steal all the plates. Like stupid ass Jack is sneaking around and he puts his hand on a hot skull. I don't know where the hell that came from, but it looked awesome. There's like this guy sleeping on a hot table full of human remains and like skulls that are like raised to like a steaming temperature. And he puts his fucking hand on
It's
it.
not the hot skull that wakes him up. They actually get past that scene, and they're throwing the giant
Oh,
plates
yeah, that's
down,
right.
and then
Frisbees.
Fucking
and then Brown Tom
fucks it
and
up.
Brown Tom and Screwball.
Screwball
Yeah.
fuck it up, and that's
Yeah.
what wakes him up.
And he has to do all those little weird flippy kung fu moves. and
Which he
it's
does not
fucking
do at
slow.
any other point in the movie.
Yeah.
Just
But
there.
it's cool though.
Well,
I
they
like it.
first show that when he first sees Lily, he's squatting up on the thing and she hands
That
him
was
the cookies.
fun.
And then he
does
does
the
the weird
flips.
flips. Yeah.
he
Yeah.
does the kung fu flips when he first.
And he does that when he's
Fair
fighting
enough, fair
Darkness
enough.
again later on.
But
Yeah.
that's later, we're talking establishing.
He's getting his ass kicked by Darkness later on.
Then he
We're like,
does more
yeah.
kung fu backflips than
But
he
he-
Top Gun again.
Kung Fu backflips the shit out of all these fucking like evil cooks, right? And like they end up killing these guys.
The one that
and
doesn't
stuff.
have like the
pyramid head, fucking-
pyramid head,
yeah.
fucking
I love this fucking scene. The set is like-
Executioner's style.
Executioner hood, Brown Skins, what is it? Ku Klux Klan hood going on
Right.
right there. The other one is actually supposed to be homage to Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, nice. It makes sense with all like the human remains. And before, like when they establish these guys, they show up shot out that dude with a fucking.
That's in
cleaver
the intro
that's
scene.
horrible.
That's in the very beginning
Yeah.
monologue. Darkness does.
It's awesome.
More trivia. Tim Curry was originally supposed to be the Joker in the Batman animated
Damn.
series, but he got bronchitis, so he lost the role to Mark Hamill.
Nice.
I mean, okay,
Mark Hamill.
disappointing, but also Mark Hamill really should have been there, so
Yeah.
also not disappointing. So
Well, thank you for that trivia. I love that.
So they get their death ray set up. Fucking Darkness and Lily are about to fucking do this unicorn, but as it turns out, Lily fucking jukes him at the end. She takes the sword, she fucking like lets the unicorn go and starts kicking ass. You know, like there's this whole like really intense, really well edited scene where like the Gump and fucking
Took several shots.
Jack are like they're gonna snipe out Lily, and he's like, "You should do it. Just take the shot." And he's like, "I don't know. I believe in it." And he just shoots fucking Darkness in the neck instead.
It's an interesting parallel to what Travis said, how when Lily's in Darkness's palace, she's never alone. She's never not being watched. She's never trusted.
Right.
And
But she
Jack-
still ends up fucking juking it.
Right,
Like,
but Jack from the very beginning, when he goes to blindfold her for not for the forest act, for the unicorn trap, is like, "Don't you trust me?" He's like, "Of course I trust you."
But
So
still,
like, we're still blindfolded. Well, like that,
Yeah.
that's like an establishing thing, and it's like a parallel between the two. Where there's trust and there's absolute no trust.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
This is just a little bit of technical thing I find hilarious. After the unicorn's chains have been cut, the horse jumps the thing and it goes forward and you kind of see it going down the slope. What actually happened is it fell into the pit of boiling lava.
Oh shit!
It's just a pool of water with a bunch of underwater lamps underneath.
Right.
But like started smashing all the aquatic lights because it couldn't get out.
Poor
Like,
horse.
Ridley Scott was like terrified the horse was going to get electrocuted. It turned out to be
Like
okay.
the bear scene.
Aw, poor
Yeah,
horse.
yeah. Very first shot of the movie is this bear coming
Yeah, the
down.
bear eating that honey.
Coming down,
and
right?
stuff.
There's a little pond in the middle of the forest there on the soundstage, right? The bear fell into the pond, and all of a sudden the bear trainer and handler just like panics and goes, you know, oh, whatever the bear's name is, dives into the pond. It turns out the bear doesn't know how to swim. So the guy dives into the pond. The bear just like wraps its arms around him in a panic as a giant bear hug and almost drowns both of them.
Diving in the
Aw, the bear doesn't.
They're both fine in the end, but yeah, the bear didn't know how to swim.
That's sad and cute at the same time.
Awesome.
Very nice.
I think that's another reason I don't like this movie. I'm terrified of bears, and it opens with a bear.
My whole
Remake.
thing was, okay, the bear freaked out, and it
did a bear hug on the train or almost drowned him. At least the bear didn't decide, oh crap, I'm gonna maul shit.
Right?
So yeah, they had to shoot that whole sequence with the horse twice because the first time it fell in the water and smacked all the lights.
That's awesome. Anyway, you
Okay.
wanna take us out?
Oh, where did you
Fight scene.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
They shoot darkness in the neck.
Yeah.
Lily does her like little plan, which
Yeah.
works out fucking perfectly.
Yeah.
And then she gets her ass knocked out.
Yeah.
And she gets her ass knocked
Well,
out.
okay.
It is
It's so-
darkness.
So then, so Jack like gets a hold of the unicorn horn, stabs Darkness, like cuts off his hands or something.
This is a really well
He
edited
does in
scene,
fact
too.
cut off his hand, but in the end they decided not to put that in any version, just leave it implied. Because
Yeah.
they were going for
You
that
don't
PG,
see it, but that's what I got.
They were
from
going
it.
for that PG rating.
Yeah.
He literally does cut off the hands holding it.
And then he just like flies off into space.
I did
And
not know where
becomes some
space.
stars.
This is not where the space came from, but it was like implied that it was like the sunlight plus the unicorn horn plus the purity of Jack. But I'm like, where the fuck did space come from?
Yeah,
That's
that
what
was-
I'm very
It was in the
confused about.
opening sequence.
That was his fucking dad or whatever. That was
It's
father.
because you don't
Great
understand
dark
character.
God damn
Back,
you.
back into the void
Yeah.
from whence
Yeah,
he
and
came.
then
Father!
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is the implication that through the whole film, like the darkness is working for some greater creature.
And this is where I'd like the movie to have ended.
Agreed.
Yeah, me too. Because the way it actually ends made me feel like I need to like pour blood over my head or something. Because it's just so.
Hail Satan.
I know, no, just like not
Hail
literally, but it
Satan.
was like it was so over the top, like sweet and
It's
sappy.
super
I was just
saccharin,
like,
yeah.
ew, like just like somebody stabbed someone or punched someone in the face. Because it was too. I just hate movies that end that way, like running off into the sunset and like waving, and there's unicorns there, and like.
Yeah, somehow we
Oh
bring
my
the unicorn
God.
back to life, which is
Well,
making it
they
fun.
had
They
to
mentioned earlier that they needed to get the horn back from there.
See,
They
but
don't
that's-
mention it in the theatrical
They
cut.
absolutely mention it in,
They do.
in the other movie. They say, well,
We
we have
have
to
to
cover
promise.
the horn.
No, they do
We
mention
have to
the
get it back
theatrical
from there.
version said we need to get the alicorn back, which I will not lie to you. The only reason I know what that means is because of, or that I know that they meant the unicorn horn is because I read some random shit about My Little Pony.
No.
I was gonna
But-
say an
and then-
alicorn is a completely different creature.
Totally.
I never
Yeah,
watched it. I
no,
just
I-
read some stuff,
I-
and I have some friends that are super into it.
Right.
Were they brownies?
No, they're all ladies, so no. And I don't know if this is a theatrical version difference because in the theatrical version, Jack goes and gets the ring. Lily's in a coma. He gives her the ring, and it's like, "Where true love's kiss," wakes up. And then there's a scene of the two of them holding hands, going, "Who the fuck knows where?" Because Jack lives in the forest, off in there, and all the little like fairies are like, "Bye, goodbye, goodbye." Like,
That is a big difference between the theatrical and director's cut.
I'll
and
always
then
be
and then
here.
they kind of walk off. Now, as I understand it, in the theatrical cut, Lily leaves by herself.
She asks if she can come back tomorrow. He says, "I'll always be here."
Because that leads into that ambiguity of the theatrical version is way more like, oh, they're definitely
Yeah.
together, and then
Yeah.
the director's cut is more ambiguity in the relationship,
It's also-
which makes me think I would have liked that version
It's
better.
Me
also
too.
the
Yeah, from the
ambiguity-
sounds of it, I think that would have been better.
It's also the ambiguity that he is a forest spirit himself, and that
Not
he'll always
in the
be
final
there.
version. It's only a script. So,
I
unfortunately.
have a huge Mandela effect thing for this movie, in that I would swear to you on a stack of Bibles that there was a sequence where they put the horn back on the dead.
They do.
Yeah.
In the
Do,
theatrical.
in the
Yeah,
theatrical
they do.
version.
Yeah.
Because I've been watching the theatrical cut, the European cut, and so on, and they don't do that now.
Yeah, no, they definitely do it. It's Gump though.
Yeah.
It's not
That's-
Jack, which does sort of segue that whole champion thing, where I would have thought it would have had to be Jack. But literally, once the darkness is gone, Jack immediately abandons the whole quest, jumps over to Lily.
That's one of the things that actually the Gump says is, "We had a promise, I have to keep it," that they would go and right what was wrong, and that's where Gump's emphasis was on righting what was wrong with the unicorn.
And I guess if I would have been writing the sequence, I would have attached that to Jack and made him have to do it.
It just proves you're a better writer than Ridley Scott.
Damn, thank you. I guess that's where I would have gone with it. So yeah, and like their relationship in the theatrical version is much more explicit, much more. Oh, this is happiness and laugh forever after.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's way more ambiguous.
In a lot of ways, it feels like the theatrical version thinks the audience is a bunch of idiots and they're not going to get it.
To be fair, the
It's
theatrical
like
version,
really
the theatrical version is also the American version. So yeah.
because they got that crawl at the beginning, and then the way the ending is, it's just like, oh my god, it's enough already.
It's very cutesy.
I'm fine with some ambiguity. In fact, I love some ambiguity. Like,
I want some Blade Runner ass ambiguity.
Oh, that's
What does unicorn mean?
Right?
yeah.
It really surprised me that this was, I don't know why, but this was after Alien Blade Runner because I thought this was my biggest complaint. I was watching this movie going, did they cut 17 scenes? Like, I feel like it's just boom, boom, boom,
Yeah, they
boom.
did.
And
They did,
it's
so
so
the
much,
theatrical cut
and it's
was
so
very-
much trouble following because it cut so often.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even like a long enough sequence to follow one person's storyline to the other person's storyline, which is like boop, 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 boop. I felt it was cut.
They cut a ton of scenes in every version because they ran out of money.
Yeah,
And then
that's
some
just-
scenes just went on forever.
Yeah.
Okay, if this is after Blade Runner, and so
Right.
much emphasis is placed on the unicorn.
The unicorn and the origami unicorn.
Yes!
Yeah.
I wonder if they're linked.
They might be. This might be in the same universe.
Entirely possible.
So the unicorn is artificial,
Right.
and it's to symbolize anyone associated with the unicorn isn't real.
It's a construct, so it's all fairy tale.
But in the end, they won't live.
Then again,
Who does?
Who does?
I do want to mention, because I think we're getting close to the end. Claire couldn't be here, but she did want to mention everybody had glitter on. I feel that they ran out of money because they blew it all on the glitter and bubbles budget.
They ran out of money because the soundstage burned down.
Aesthetically, I did see that. Aesthetically, that is the one thing consistently through the movie that I loved. The aesthetic that they built. Honestly, I love the glitter and the bubbles. Just like the character design, the costuming, the
Ridley Scott was adamant that this was going to look like a storybook fairy tale. It was everything was going to be magical, and in his mind that meant more glitter.
and no, and
All the glitter.
I think you did very
There's
well.
glitter mixed in
Aesthetically,
with
it
snow. There's
feels.
glitter mixed on. They're painted on the horses. There's glitter in everything.
Glitter's on the
Sweat.
villains, which you don't usually
Yeah.
glitter up your villains.
There's a really dramatic close-up of Darkness's foot coming through the mirror.
Hail Lord
And it's
Glitterhoof.
painted with glitter. He is Lord Glitterhoof.
No, and I think aesthetically, that is the one thing that I can follow
Horse
consistently
culture
through
is
the movie.
best culture.
This is beautiful to look at, and the design is gorgeous. I got way more into the movie once Tim Curry showed up more consistently. I thought it was a way better movie at that point because, honestly, I could watch Tim Curry read me a phone book, and I'd probably be like, I'm in.
Unfortunately, you won't be able to do that due to his stroke.
Okay. So now that we covered the end of the movie, I mentioned earlier on that Ridley Scott is a furry, and I'm going to expand on that.
We are.
No.
Do we have?
No.
I don't
In
want
the,
to.
I don't want to.
in the original draft of the script, again, this is based on Beauty and the Beast, but he wanted to kind of invert the trope and make Beauty the Beast. So where she gets, or where
The dress.
Lily gets the dress and goes all gothy, in the original script, she was supposed to start turning into a cat person.
I'd much rather have goblins.
Yeah.
And quote a sleek cat.
He starts calling he calls it a
catches
beautiful
himself.
cat person. He starts to call it a sexy cat person, and then he catches himself and starts saying sleek instead. So it's supposed to be this incredibly beautiful anthropomorphic, sexy cat girl is her beast form as she's corrupted, and that's referenced.
Q slides from Japanese anime.
You're right now, and that's referenced a little bit with the dwarf elf person Bumble or whatever her name is.
Right, with this weird.
He's got that weird
Chicken
hand
foot or
because
whatever.
he's been corrupted. He's got that one weird chicken hand going on. And the scene at the end where Jack puts the ring on Lily's finger, that was supposed to be the catalyst that turns her back into a human.
Why?
Which would also explain why no, she's corrupted, she's one of them.
Well, that's a bummer.
Because,
Glad they didn't do
because
that.
Ridley Scott wanted to have a giant, sexy
Sexy
cat
cat
girl.
lady.
And he didn't do it because he ran out of time and he ran out of money.
Thank God.
It's the
But
only
then
reason.
Agreed. I think we can all
Because it was
agree.
going to be Mia Sarah under a ton of catnip.
Yeah, I'd rather just have Mia
multiple
Sarah.
boobs.
I think we can agree that this is like Quentin Tarantino's foot fetish, and that she does not need to put it in a film.
Right.
Yeah.
But he does.
I
sometimes.
know.
Uh,
Pulp Fiction.
guess we'll start with
I don't know, I dig it. I like this movie a lot. It's well, not like a super lot, but I like it. It's got a good contrast between like crazy evil imagery and like middle school notebook unicorn imagery. Like, it feels good to me. It's really well edited. It's really well acted. It's fun, and it's a lot of fun. All the way through.
I didn't really like it. I think like a big part of the reason I didn't like it is I've seen so many fantasy movies, and it felt kind of generic to me. I'm sure in like 1986 everyone like had their minds blown by it, but I mean unicorns and fairies and the devil just don't do much for me. So, and I also really like did not like Lily at all. Like I had a hard time like giving a shit about her character and just kind of wanted her to like become evil and just do Satan or something, you know? Like,
Not gonna lie, that probably.
that would have been a better ending for me if she just like went with
PG
it.
rating, at least.
So, but I don't know. But it had its moments. I really liked the sparkly dress dancing, and I liked Tim Curry in it. And I weirdly liked seeing like Tom Cruise like crouching around so much.
Without pants.
And
Without pants,
he still manages to eat and run in this movie.
Yeah.
He does that in every movie.
So.
I'm gonna switch to me real quick because I'm with Heidi here. I didn't care for the movie. I mean, it's okay at most. It was just boring to me. I got bored in the middle of it. I looked up, is Legend a boring movie? Yes, it is. Like unanimous across the internet. And I'm like, I have another hour of this movie, and I don't know. It was long-winded, and parts of it didn't need to be long-winded, but it was a pretty movie. I really liked the visuals. It was great. And Tim Curry's voice being edited the way it did reminded me of the villain from The Mask, which really threw me off a little bit.
I used the
Yeah, I've
same
never seen
technology
that
for it.
Am I up?
You're out.
I have to disagree with Jordan. The acting in this, it really depends on who's on screen. I don't think Tom Cruise can act personally, regardless of what film he's in.
That's why he makes such a good forest child.
Yeah, so I don't think Tom Cruise can act.
You're being deliberate right now.
I thought Mia Saren was boring as heck at the beginning. Once she put her in a scene with Tim Curry, I feel like you could have put almost anybody but Tom Cruise in a scene with Tim Curry and it improved them. I just don't think Tim Curry is very good. I don't think he's that good. I enjoyed this movie way more once Tim Curry showed up on the screen. It was beautiful. I do have to agree with Heidi. I did not care much for Lily's character through most of the movie, which makes me wonder, with the director's cut, with the ambiguity, and I guess there's a bit more in the director's cut, like, Jack is like successful almost the first time in everything he does in the first one. Jack was boring for me because
He fails a lot in the other cut.
he does not fail a lot in the theatrical cut, and he just seems to know what's going on the whole time. That was boring for me. But aesthetically, I thought this movie was gorgeous. Claire thought the glitter was weird. I was super into all the glitter because I love glitter.
You called me a slut.
And I called you a slut. So I think I enjoyed this movie. I didn't love this movie, and I definitely enjoyed the second half way more than the first half.
I just had an interesting mental picture. Now imagine this movie completely reshot with Tim Curry playing every role.
Shit, I just signed up for that. I'd love it.
That would be awesome.
Listen,
New
I watched Rocky Horror. I will look at Tim Curry in a dress and lipstick. Fuck yeah.
I watched it when I was a kid.
Rocky Horror is how he got this role.
Really?
Really.
They wanted him to
Ridley
play.
Scott had seen him in Rocky Horror Picture, so he went and said, "Hey, what you did in Rocky Horror Picture, I want you to do it again, but now you're gonna be the devil."
And at that point, Tim Curry was like, I need these people to stop standing outside my house and trying to touch my butt, so sure.
I digged it. It was fun. It felt like a kids movie, but like in an okay way. It reminded me of a fairy tale. It was super oozing 80s fantasy movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, it's 100%. Like, the only way it could have been more was if like it was He-Man.
Yeah.
What's
Screwball is in He-Man.
Screwball's
He's the guy
in
who makes the
He-Man.
key.
But no, I dig that.
Oh, Oh.
So that Screwball was Billy Barty, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was also in Willow, which is
Yep.
the other movie we should fucking
I would rather be watching Willow.
IMDb
would
does
rather.
say that this movie is very likely a huge inspiration for Legend of Zelda.
Yes.
Really?
I actually got that.
So,
Yeah. Neither guy wears pants.
yep.
Alright, now I just learned that Link doesn't wear pants.
That's because he wears a tunic.
I know, but like your legs are gonna get cold, boys.
Yeah,
He's got leggings, but he's not wearing proper pants.
Oh man, everyone's busted.
I like this movie. There are 4 versions of this movie. I've seen 3 of them.
Finish your set, do the fourth.
I'm trying to find a rough cut. It's just not all I count. I really enjoy this. It's a wonderful little guilty pleasure kind of movie because ultimately, as far as storytelling is concerned, it's terrible. But visually, it's beautiful. And it's one of those things that if you want to establish your street cred as a geek, you have to know this movie.
Not really. But.
No, yeah. I want those 2 hours of my life back, Levena.
Oh, please, you've made her watch shitty stuff. This isn't fair.
No. That and also for Kyokuro Mao.
Kyokuro Mouse.
No, it's not.
So yeah, that's unless anybody has any
What'd you think?
last minute.
He already did.
He already did while you were gone.
That's our take on 1985's Legend from Ridley Scott. Hope you enjoyed it. We're always open to more viewer requests, so please keep sending them our way.
Next episode's Trev.
Next episode is my pick, and I haven't decided yet, so we'll let you
Oh,
know.
you know you're gonna deal with that.
No, God,
I'm really tempted, but I don't think I
no.
will.
You were not watching that in my
Because
apartment.
I'd like Jenny to speak to me the next day.
It would make
So-
the game a lot easier.
Yeah.
But,
So maybe he needs to consider that.
So anyhow, that's where we are. We are Cinema Synergy. This is Brazil Craft Beer and Wine Lounge. I'm drunk, and good night.